Good afternoon. My name is Jackie, and I will be your conference operator today. At this time, I would like to welcome everyone to the Tech Data Microsoft Dynamics CRM webinar. All lines have been placed on mute to prevent any background noise. If you should need assistance during the call, please press star, then 0, and an operator will come back online to assist you. Thank you. I would now like to turn the conference over to Jeremy Singh. Please go ahead.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for attending our CRM Online plus Rapid Start webinar. We'll be going over how to utilize the Rapid Start offering to help deploy CRM Online easily to your customers. Speaking today, we have Matt Hester from Microsoft, who is a Senior Partner Technical Strategist, and Steve Mordue, who is the CEO of Forceworks, which offers Rapid Start. So just going over some housekeeping notes. If there's any questions you guys have during the webinar, please feel free to enter those in the Q&A box on the right. You can enter those questions at any time in the presentation, but we'll only get to those at the end. We are doing a random drawing today for Microsoft Band 2, where one lucky attendee will be winning that prize. We'll conduct a drawing after the webinar and contact the winner. So with that, if you want to go ahead and take it away, Matt.
All right, thank you so much, Jeremy. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, everybody. My name is Matt Hester. I'm based out of Dallas, Texas, and I'm here to talk to you more a little bit about CRM, and then I'll pass it over to my good friend Steve at Forceworks. He'll actually show you some good things to get started. So let's just talk a little bit about the market and the world we live in today and how you can help your customers move forward. When you think about your customers today, are they making good decisions? Are they taking the opportunities they get and really running with them? Are their sales teams working right? Are they focusing on pipelines? When are they going to get their next big opportunity? Are they asking these kinds of questions of their customers? And really, when you think about this, if you haven't deployed CRM for your business, this might be an opportunity for you to help improve your business as well. So when I look at CRM, it's not only something that can help our partners improve on how they sell into their customers, but it's also a tool of how we can actually, how you can actually educate your customers to do better with their customers. So it's really a great tool for those types of things. The best thing about this is that this tool is integrated in with Office 365. It's designed to work with and be a part of the Office 365 and the Microsoft platform from a standpoint of being able to help work on efforts, mail merging, that kind of basic stuff, but also be able to help close sales faster. And it really can help differentiate the businesses of your customers to other areas as well and really turn them into experiences. Because at the end of the day, when you look at selling and you look at tools, it's about that relationship and about building that relationship and being where your customers are going to be located as well. So why should small businesses really matter? At the end of the day, customer experience matters more now than ever. When you think about the world that we live in with all the wonderful cloud technologies we have, it seems to be we're making a transformation that customers are buying online. There's not a lot of that direct relationship. I mean, how many of you have sold software just because your website has a link to go sell software? Well, think about this now. We want to drive that environment. We want to work with that experience. We really want to make it better for our customers and your customers to really generate the data that's worthwhile to them so they can get their customers moving forward. Are your customers willing to pay more for experience? 86% of them are. Customers have left. How many of you have left a website that didn't service you right or you had a bad customer? Bad experience or bad service gets rid of it. All internet users are active on social media. I think in one way or the other, I think social media really is the precipice of how we're changing and how we're selling and how you're positioning this to your customers. And the internet users really trust opinions, right? So how many times have you gone to go book a hotel or gone to go find a service and you did a search? You might have Googled it using Bing, but you did a search to find out what's out there before you could do this, and you valued those opinions. I know I have, and I think most of you probably have as well. So having that kind of positive experience so you can do that type of information is worthwhile. So if you're focused on managing opportunities and creating great customer experience, then you're really talking about customer relationship management, or CRM. Really, at the end of the day, this is all sales is going to be, is about making sure that our customers are happy, they're delighted, and we're making sure that their experiences are well. And if something does go bad, how can we quickly change and make it better for them as we go through it? When we look at customer engagement scenarios and solutions, there's a lot of opportunities for this in the world that we live in. When we think about the comprehensive business technology and platforms that are under the covers, now it's how do we take those engagements? How do we personalize them? How do we make them proactive? How do we make them predictive so we can make this a consistent, repeatable process? How do we go everywhere? How do we go social? How do we, kind of make your website the center of the world, but how do we go everybody to tell it? Tell us about their website and tell us how to get back to the environment. How do we market smarter? How do we sell more effectively inside your organizations? Your customers are asking these questions today, how they can actually improve this environment. And really an easy path when you think about dynamic CRM, it's the great thing about this tool, you define your own path, but it starts from opportunity management to how you provide customer service to marketing automation. So you don't have to have, always somebody doing all that right, and you can have a lot of automation behind this. And then gaining insight from social media, not only finding out is your messaging landing properly, but also kind of what's trending in the world today. Am I missing an opportunity? Is there an industry event that's occurring that changes my business? How do your customers adapt to those types of changes? I know partners on this call and the partners that will be listening to this after this, the great thing about this, what you'll do is you have to adapt to the changing of the cloud industry. How did you change that? How do we get the social media? A lot of information was out there. How do we adapt to it? How do we quickly move forward inside of this environment? So when we look at sales in Microsoft Dynamics CRM, there's about 6 pillars that we're going to step through each of them fairly quickly for us, from opportunity management, social selling, planning and management, intelligence around sales, mobile sales, and content collaboration. So let's take a look at opportunity management to start this. And really it's all about account and contract management. You can actually have all your customers' deals in one place. You can manage them. There's a lot of great information out there. You can do guided selling. What do you take next when you have tools like Cortana? Collaboration tools, being able to take it to the next level internally, maybe Skype for Business into IM conversations, or having Yammer conversations, or taking it to OneNote so you can share that not only internally, but possibly best practices externally to your customers to improve it. Social selling, this is all about looking at the buying signals that are in the world today. When you think what's out there is how do you know what your customers are interested in? How do your customers know to change their business? How do we know what's going on between your customer and their competitors? How do we have that information? There's a lot of data out there in social media. How do we make those connections? How do we provide that connection so those people can actually get on the same page for us? So social selling is becoming a big part of how a lot of your customers are actually selling in the world today. From a planning and management perspective, how do we look at fun things that we can do? There's gamification. That seems to be a very popular term, and right now it's currently in preview. But how do you make a game of this? How do you motivate sales reps through fun and creative competitions? How do your customers, basically incent their reps to sell more, other than having a job and doing those types of things? What kind of things can you put into those tools? How can you look at performance management to see how those sales reps are doing, so you can learn from the good ones and improve the folks that need some education and maturity? Business process management, how do they adhere to your business? How do your customers have that process? Do they have a business process for when they want to start a sale process to how they close and deliver? Content collaboration all built inside of it. One of the great things about when you think about selling in the world today, and your customers do this today, is they're going to work with a lot of documents. And how do they manage those documents? How do they find what's inside of those documents? And how do they co-author and author those documents? All this through Office 365 and the collaboration. This is what makes CRM great. And more importantly, makes it a great addition to what we can do with Office 365 today, is it ties in so nicely. We're just now taking this data and leveraging it across the entire platform of 365. It's not just about Outlook and mail merges and that type of stuff that your customers might have done in the past. It's about taking that to the next level and helping enabling their entire organization to be effective sellers across the environment. Mobile sales, this has to be there. I think any CRM solution worth its salt today, in today's world, and in that mobile-first, cloud-first world that we live in, has to have some kind of ability to do this all via phones, via tablets, having voice recognition built into the solution. This is stuff that CRM has today. So you can really take advantage of a lot of the fantastic capabilities to really help those mobile users, the people that are driving around the cars or doing those sales right from the comfort of their own phone, and those types of things that we can do. Sales intelligence, really this is kind of the next big thing. When you think about the mounds of data, and if you think about your own company for a second, if you think about the mounds of historical data you have inside your organization, what's there and what's predictive, you probably have an immense amount of insight that you can learn more from of how you do those types of things. So the great thing about this, you can get some predictive analytics. You can look at that data, and it'll help you help your customers detect seasonality patterns that they may not know they have. There might be something inside the market. You're going to be able to find out that information, especially when you start working with some of the analytics sites and services that are there, or even using Power BI to analyze some of that data that's coming out of CRM to help them educate themselves, to help them move forward. You know, sometimes when we sell in our markets, it's great that our numbers are up, but have you ever asked, why are our numbers up? What's going on with our numbers? Why are they doing so well? Or hopefully nobody has to answer this question, why are they not doing so well? What's going on? How do we look at that data in a different way? And a lot of the intelligence built into CRM really does a nice job of doing that for us. And when you think about increasing sales and productivity with Office 365, most of you listening to this today will definitely know that 365 is a great way, but 365 is becoming one of those environments that almost everybody's selling it. So how do you increase your sales productivity with 365? How do you help educate your customers? Hey, you have this whole suite. It goes way beyond just 365 and the Office tools. How can you do other things? How can you sell that whole entire sales productivity? From an incoming email that leads to a Skype call, that leads to a OneNote documentation, to doing deal updates inside of Yammer so you can communicate it with everybody out there, to finding the right documents that are out there, to collaborating across the organization, to creating those proposals, to generating the quote, to managing the pipeline. This is the great thing about this. When you look at the entire sales cycle from the beginning to the qualifying and all the way to close, the tools that we have inside of Office are going to do all of this for you. And the great thing about the CRM just becomes another tool that you can use for your customers, that it provides another way for you to extend your practice. And don't worry, if you're not really that familiar with CRM, that's why we have Steve on the call today. And here in a little bit, he's going to show you some of the things he can help you moving more forward with your CRM practices inside your organizations. It helps you differentiate from the other Office 365 providers that are out there and the other partners that are out there. And I'm telling you what, folks, CRM is growing. And it's really growing big inside the market. We got to make it grow faster, though. And how do you do that? We're going to see some of those tools in a little bit. Service from a Microsoft Dynamics CRM perspective, a little bit more about some of the things that we do around CRM when we think about some of the omni-channel that's there. And really it's all about thinking about how do we look at our customer from all perspectives. How do we see what's going on from all the different things we can do? How do we create personalized and consistent engagement with those customers? That's the challenge, right? I think it's part of the challenge of any sales cycle. How do you become personalized, but also how do you become consistent so you can repeat this across all the different channels that we have? CRM is going to help you that. It's going to help you give that personal flavor. It's going to help you give your customers that personal flavor when you start enabling it for them. How do we do agent enablement? How do we actually drive those different roles inside of organization? How do we give them different tailored so we can actually have the different parts of the sales organization, your customer sales organization, kind of targeted from leads all the way up to the closers and the deals that we have and the folks that do the deployment? How do we do intelligent case management if we do have issues with support? How do your customers handle that today? How do their customers handle support issues? So even inside of it, it's all a part of the experience, folks. And how are we collaborative with the different folks that are inside of our organizations? How do we use Skype and Yammer to help keep telling this story to our different folks inside of our customers? Field service, you know, what if your customer is a type of a company that delivers out service? Maybe they do heating and air conditioning or yard management or landscaping. How do they manage that? How do they do scheduling? How do they dispatch technicians? How do they get those folks all out there? CRM does all of this. And the nice thing about this, with the mobility put in, it makes it very easy for those technicians in the field to report back statuses. So you can get almost near real-time guidance of what's happening as that technician is going out on site, where they're located at, what they're doing, if they're running late or if they're early, and we might be able to give them another case if they have the ability. It really lets your customers optimize the resources that are so valuable to them and those people resources as they start moving through the different infrastructures that we have. Knowledge. At the end of the day, a lot of your customers, and we already talked about kind of the sales analytic and looking at the mountains of sales data and historic sales data they have and how we can use intelligence predictive analytics around this. But more importantly, when those technicians go out and they find those issues and they find those errors, well, that becomes part of your company's knowledge, and it becomes part of those customers' knowledge of how they differentiate from their different customers and how they can actually have that knowledge database. So maybe a new technician goes on site and finds an issue that an older technician had. We're going to be able to look at that unified knowledge that's there and deliver those answers right across the entire service, across all those channels for us, and have the analytics to find out, hey, this is a very consistent issue. Is it something wrong with our service or our product that we need to go back and take a look at and fix maybe something in production? So when you look at CRM, it's all about that knowledge of data and how that experience translates not only from a sales cycle but also to your customers and how we can improve that customer satisfaction for your customers as well. Service intelligence, once again, getting that information about what's going on and asking our customers. I think really a big thing that a lot of partners and a lot of partners' customers fail to ask is ask your customers, how are we doing? Have you ever had a survey from your customers? And if so, what did you do with that data? Where is that data? Do you have consistent feedback, both positive and constructive, coming back? How do you get those insights to identify those opportunities? And there's a lot of data that's there. There's a lot of trends in forecasting, not only from the social side, but also from the services side and the sales side that we can really help see what's going on. So it's not always about some of that anecdotal feedback, which we can definitely get. It's also about, hey, what's going on geographically? What's going on demographically inside of our environment, so we can see what's happening, because maybe you might have a bunch of outages in one area. It could be a bigger issue. Maybe there's a power grid down or something other bigger inside the world today where you can help educate your customers saying, hey, look, we're working as best we can, but there's something else going on that we're trying to fix and fix quickly. Licensing. So that's just a quick overview, folks. And when you look at CRM, it's such a big product. You could spend an hour on any one of those topics alone and working through them. But when you start thinking about how do you license Dynamics for your customers and how do you actually add this on to their environments, there's a few things that we can do. And really it starts with kind of a history lesson here. When we used to sell in the environment, we had Advisor, where you basically just had technically a finder's fee. You got a little bit of incentive that decreased years over year, but also the customer paid Microsoft directly. And then we had Open, where you generally would have a year-long contract with your customers. You'd be able to sell and transact with those customers and have that relationship. Especially if you have mature customers, Open was a fairly good deal. You had good incentives. There was usually good discounts for the customers as well. But now, when we look at the world that we're in today, we're changing, and as most of you already know, we're changing to the cloud solution provider, the CSP program, that really lets you have that one bill. Because the challenge that we have with the other models is how do we give them that one bill that has everything inside of it? It has all of our licensing that covers the customer, it has all our services and our managed services. How do we provision, how do we support all of that? And that's what CSP, and actually came back from feedback from a lot of partners like yourselves, and how we can give them that one deal. Now, how this works in your world today is basically all about the relationship with how we work with Microsoft. At the end of the day, we have your customers at the bottom of the chain. They're going to work with you as the reseller, just like we've done in the past, and then you're going to work with Tech Data to actually distribute out and sell those licenses and work with it. And Tech Data will have that tie-in back to Microsoft. So when you provision those things and provision those users inside your environments, inside the Tech Data portals, it's going to come back and actually provision to the environment. More importantly, you now have a good relationship with Tech Data, and they can help you do that support for your customers if you have that. The nice thing about this is that when the Tech Data's reps answer those phones, they're going to think, the customer think there's going to be Microsoft and how we can work with this. So we really have a good ability to work with this. And CSP, at the end of the day, really enables your customers. You can set the price and terms and directly bill your customers. You can include all your markups and all your different abilities. You can directly provision and manage subscriptions. It's very easy if you need to dial up or dial down users as your customers grow or change their users inside the organization. It makes it very easy to make that happen, to add those users. You're the first contact of support for your customer support. You're still going to be that voice for your customer, but if you need Tech Data to help you out with that, they're going to be more than willing to help you with that support, especially as you scale out, or maybe there's certain customers you want to handhold, and other customers, you know what, let's have them go through the other support channels. It's going to be up to you. And really, at the end of the day, it's about creating that cloud subscription partner offer, set the package price of whatever you're going to sell to the customers, place the order through the cloud services, and you have a single package solution. This is a huge benefit to your your customers. Most of the days, how many times have your customers said, I just want one bill? This is going to be one bill. It's going to be one bill that includes everything that differentiates you from other partners, but also the different selling motions that you'll want to use inside of it. When you look inside of Dynamic CRM Online for SMBs, really the big hero SKU is the Dynamic CRM Professional Edition. It's about $65 USD, $65 per user per month is the retail pricing that we have, and that's going to give you everything we pretty much talked about, from sales and marketing to mobility to the cloud technologies behind this to the business management and the customer service. This is going to be the big SKU that you're going to want to really target when you start working with those customers of yours that want to have some kind of CRM solution in place. And really, at the end of the day, when you start coupling this in with other technologies, the nice thing about doing this with Office, you get some nice discounts when you kind of combine them together, and then when you especially have that CSP direct planning versus doing that CRM only Pro. So this becomes a nice add-on to the Office suites you may have already sold your customers. We find that partners that do both, that sell both Dynamic CRM and Office 365, are making close to 25 to 35% more margin than partners who only sell 365 alone. So this is something you definitely want to take a look at and actually start getting some skills around and some chops around what it can do for your customers. Just another example of how that add-on works for this, and you'll be able to get that slide deck. But with that, I really think CRM is such a great tool, and you might be wondering, how do I get started, Matt? I'm not a CRM partner. I don't know how to do this. Well, Steve, I think you have some answers for them, don't you?
We got a few. Does everybody hear me okay?
Let me go ahead and let me switch you over to the presenter here, and I'm going to mute myself and enjoy Steve. He's hopefully going to give you some great ideas on how you can get your practice started with CRM.
All right, great. Give me a second here. I'm going to share my screen. And I'm going to do something a little different today than I did the last one, and that is we're going to go through an actual live kind of demonstration to show you what's what. I mean, Matt did a great job of talking about kind of the all-up opportunity around CRM Online, where it could ultimately go, how you could, at some point, if you wanted to build a practice around CRM and really grab that opportunity by the horns. But for lots of partners new to CRM, that's a little intimidating. You've got a lot of things on your plate to accomplish. Starting a CRM practice might not be your highest priority, but there's pretty good revenue in CRM Online licensing right now. Microsoft has put lots of incentives on that SKU. They really would like to sell it, and there's a lot of money to be made. And short of starting a practice, how could you get your hands on that money? And that's really the problem we tried to solve for as an ISV, was create a way that partners who are not CRM partners could actually engage with CRM. Your customers are asking about it now. And they'll be asking about it more often. And, you know, we've talked to partners that they really don't want to do a partner-to-partner and give all the money to someone else. They'd like to be able to engage and maybe someday build a practice. So we build a solution that is available only through Microsoft partners that you can sell to your customer alongside the sale of the CRM Online licensing that will provide a complete turnkey methodology for you to get that customer deployed. And I'm going to real quickly show you a couple of things here. We're looking, you should be looking at my screen right now. You'll be looking at the out-of-the-box experience of Dynamics. And one of the challenges, I mean, obviously you as partners have challenges with CRM, and that it may be a new product for you. You may not be familiar with it. But customers have some challenges too. We really needed to kind of address both of those. And one of the challenges customers have with the out-of-the-box experience really starts with this navigation. You know, where they're clicking in here and they're seeing these 5 major buckets of things they can do in CRM, and they're clicking into sales, and they're being presented with lots of options here. They're seeing things, roll-up queries, goal metric. They're seeing things they've never used, aren't familiar with. And for that SMB customer or new to CRM customer, these options that are being presented, while they represent a lot of power, they also create a lot of fear. A lot of fear in that customer's mind that this product is too big for me. I'm never going to be able to learn this product. This is going to cost a fortune to get deployed. It also probably strikes fear in a lot of partners' minds when they're looking at CRM and they're realizing, oh, I don't understand what most of this stuff is either. I don't know how I could possibly get this deployed. I'm going to jump out of that. That's really all I wanted to show you about that and talk about the Rapid Start deployment model. This is something that we built and perfected when we used to sell directly to end customers. Microsoft approached us about 1.5 years ago because they saw the success we were having in the small and mid-sized business segment. They kind of asked us what we were doing, and we told them how we were approaching that market, and they encouraged and cooperated with us as we've transitioned to an ISV to make kind of our methodology available for partners. And we also kind of went back in and refined it even further. But here's an example of what a CRM deployment looks like with Rapid Start installed. You can see it's a little cleaner, but some of the easy areas to grasp is going into the navigation. Yeah, we're now seeing, this is all we're seeing in navigation. We really have hidden lots of scary stuff. Granted, it's lots of power that can come later, but initially we're hiding lots of scary stuff from that new customer just to get them over those initial concerns that this product is too big. You know, they're looking at the common things, you know, accounts, contacts, leads, opportunities, and cases. Now, those are called the COLAC entities, and they're the core entities that almost any CRM deployment, no matter how big and complex it ultimately gets, all start with. They're kind of like the foundational bricks of a CRM deployment, and that's what we're really focusing on with the Rapid Start model. That's part of what we're doing is simplifying the navigation so, frankly, we're not scaring off the users. One of the other things that we've included as part of this deployment model is our integrated training solution. You know, if you're not a CRM partner and you're contemplating selling CRM, you might be a little concerned about, you know, how am I going to answer even basic questions about CRM for my customer? I don't use it, I'm not familiar with it, and I don't want to get caught, you know, not having answers. So we built and have deployed within these deployments this little tool right here. And you can see there's several categories of things that a user might want to do. And this is user-facing. They click on that button anywhere in CRM, and it'll pop up that box. And let's take a look at a common one like leads and opportunities. We've got about a dozen topics within there. And they can click on any of these topics. And I'm not sure that you guys will be able to hear the audio through here, but what this is doing is this is playing about a 30 to 90-second video about how to do a particular thing. You know, how do I create a lead? This is 101 stuff. You know, how do I create a lead? We're going to show them a short video right over top of their work. They're not leaving or going anywhere else or asking you or Microsoft or the person in their office that knows the most about CRM. They're staying right at their desk and figuring out how to create a lead. We've got about 80 videos in this library so far. This does not take up any space on their environment. These are all hosted in Azure. In our Azure environment, that way we're able to keep them all up to date across all of our customer deployments. And this has proven to be a very high value tool for new CRM users and partners that really aren't comfortable answering these questions themselves. We see very high usage of this tool from end customers during the first 60, 90 days, and then we see it drop off, which means it's really done its job. It taught them how to use CRM right within CRM and kept them moving. So that's another solution that we install. I'm going to jump over and show you a couple of other things. Within CRM, there are records that represent, customers and accounts and different things like that, and each of those records has a form. And this is where most people interact with CRM is, you know, using these forms to enter data and find data and search on data. And for those 5 entities that we surface, we've gone ahead and recreated the forms from the out-of-the-box forms to simplify that experience a little bit. We've removed, again, some of the enterprise, big company-facing stuff that they wouldn't understand. We've gone ahead and installed some features like this really cool feature, Insights from Inside View, which is a no-cost solution that Microsoft has partnered with Insights to provide. It just needs to be installed, so while we're under the hood, we install it. We're also installing the Bing Maps while we're under the hood, which is, you know, a completely interactive, Bing Map experience that lots of users like. And you'll also see there's an area at the bottom here called Custom Fields, a tab at the bottom called Custom Fields. I'm going to go through that here in a second. And of course, at the top is the guided business process, which was something unique to Microsoft. Salesforce has recently come out with something similar, but Microsoft was a pioneer on this. This is really your customer's sales process, which is unique for every customer. You know, what are the steps you take from the time someone hands you a business card to the time you cash a check? There's lots of steps in that process, and they're different for every customer. And this guided process bar is really a way to kind of surface up front and center on this record what those steps for your customer's company are, so that they know that their sellers and people that are working with customers are following a codified plan. And we also will customize that. So if all we had to do was install these 3 or 4 solution files on your customer's tenant and claim success, I'd be a very happy guy. But frankly, we know that the goal here is not selling license. When Microsoft approached us about Rapid Start, they said, your goal needs to be that that customer renews their license every month, not just that they buy them initially, because lots of customers buy CRM and they can't get it off the ground. Their partner can't help them get it off the ground. The cost to get it off the ground is too high, and they cancel. And that's not good for Microsoft. That's not good for Dynamics. So the goal really is we want that customer to renew. So I've got to go farther than these solution files. That's part of the battle, but that alone isn't enough to get that customer to the point where they're going to renew that subscription every month if they're getting enough value out of it. What else do we need to do on top of this? Well, we need to do the part that typically starts costing a lot of money and typically requires CRM skills, and that is we've got to customize this CRM deployment to fit this customer's needs. I mentioned this guided process. You know, these steps, that's not going to be your customer's steps. They're going to have their own steps. I'm looking at lead information here with things like industry. Here's a pick list of industries that came out of the box. This may not have anything to do with your customer, so they're going to want to have different options. There may be fields here that they don't care about. There may be fields that they want added that don't exist. This is where the cost of CRM deployment and the skill of a CRM partner start coming into play, and very often will drive the cost of an initial deployment too high for many of the SMB customers to engage. So that was the problem that we had to try and solve for, was how do we eliminate this consulting component that is driving so much cost to get these customers off the ground. And the way we did that was we built some middleware. We built another portal entirely. This also runs on CRM, by the way, with a way to capture the information from the customer that's necessary to make CRM fit their business. And we do that with a series of what we call wizards. We've got 8 of them here. That these 8 wizards, when a customer goes through these 8 wizards kind of combined with the other solutions that we've already installed. Once that process is complete, we feel like we've got that customer on very good footing to succeed. So far, we have not had a single Rapid Start deployment cancel. Every one of them is still active, so we know we're successful in getting user adoption. And this portal, just so you know, as a partner reseller, you make the decision when you place an order for Rapid Start through Tech Data. You will make the decision on a customer-by-customer basis of whether or not you will be sitting here as I am now looking at this, doing this on behalf of your customer, or you could have the customer do it themselves. And then this thing is completely turnkey. All you've done is sold it, created an order, let us know who the customer is, we invite the customer to this, and the customer does it all themselves. We have partners that do it all one way, all the other, mix and match. It's kind of up to you. But that meant we had to design this thing so that a customer could be successful in deploying CRM that had no knowledge, even maybe less than what many partners do about CRM. So the approach we took, actually, I have to give my wife credit for this, as I was racking my brain trying to figure out how would be the best way to capture this information without having to engage directly, which starts driving cost. She happened to be filling out her taxes on a computer and asked me, said, what about this? And I looked over her shoulder and I saw this form that was asking her if she got married last year. And it struck me that, you know, here's a form that is asking very simple questions that we know we can answer about ourselves and our lives, but in the background, it's filling out a very complicated form that I could never hope to. So that really was the spark, if you will, for how we solved this problem. And so we built these wizards on that same kind of a premise, that let's build almost like a questionnaire, if you will, or a form, a single form that any user could fill out, you know, about their business that in the background is doing some very complex things. I'm going to show you an example. So we've got, first of all, we got 8 of these here. There's the 5 for each of those entities that we talked about, kind of those foundational entities. There's one for that guided process that sits up top. There's one for security where they put in their initial users and kind of pick the roles of what those users will be doing in CRM. And then we've got one for importing their initial data. So this is soup to nuts. This is a complete turnkey. This thing is loaded with help. There's a learning center up here with documents. There's a video library. There's help down here in the lower right corner. Let's take a peek at one of these wizards. So this is the accounts wizard. And I get that it doesn't look exactly like the income tax software. That was more the idea. And these wizards, they look very similar to one another. They differ because they're doing different things, but the concept is the same. And we have overloaded this thing with help. There's a helper panel here that people can turn off and on. There's a video tutorial about specifically this wizard, things highlighting as you go exactly what's being asked of the person. There's, of course, the help down at the bottom, help up at the top. We've got these little help bubbles popping up over everything here. We couldn't have put more help in this thing if we tried. And that's not because it's complicated. In fact, it's very easy. But when you're thinking about the potential that an end customer, possibly even a secretary at someone's business or an intern at someone's business could be doing this, we had to provide help in as many different ways as we could. People, you know, consume help differently. Some people will actually go up to that learning center and read every document we produced. Other people will never go there. So we've overloaded this thing with as much help as possible. But basically the way it works is, you know, you're going to scroll down here and it's asking you questions. Here, the following fields are provided by default. If you don't plan to use any, select hide and we'll hide them for you. Okay, well, I know in my business, I don't deal with public companies, so I don't need to see the ticker symbol field. I'm just going to click to hide that. I know we don't use fax numbers anymore. I'm going to hide that. So just that easily, the deployer, we call it, whoever's in this portal, you or the customer, has hidden some fields that they don't need on that account record. I can go down here by default. Our Rapid Start account record is going to include a primary address, and it's called primary address. Well, maybe I want to call that HQ, you know, and maybe I want a secondary address for billing. I could do the same thing with phone numbers. I've got a primary phone. I could rename it. I could add a couple of more. And then I got those default pick lists. You know, I showed you that one for the industry, that's all these options over on the right that came by default from Microsoft. Well, maybe as a customer I don't want to use this at all. Or actually, maybe I do want to use it, but I don't like the word industry. We call it sector in our market, and we like that term. And this list of options, yeah, these don't have anything to do with my business at all. I'm just going to go over here and add my own to this list. So just this simply, they've hidden fields they didn't need. They've added the contact fields that they do want, and now they're modifying the out-of-the-box pick list to fit their needs, and they're even renaming these things to be what they want to call them. So we're really starting to get CRM. This account record is really starting to fit their business like a glove. Down at the bottom here, of course, there's another pick list here they can modify. And then down at the bottom, here's where they can create up to a dozen brand new fields out of thin air that do not exist in CRM, that Microsoft didn't even think about, that are unique to their business. They can give it a name. They can come pick the type of data, and we've made this kind of layperson's term so they know what it is. If, for example, they want to create another pick list for some reason or another, they can go over here and add their options to that pick list. And here they can add a little description for their users that will hover like that over in CRM. So they kind of go through filling out those 12, creating those 12, up to 12 fields. The reason we selected 12, the average number of fields that a Rapid Start customer has added is 7. And we have to put some boundaries around it. There's no limit in CRM, but we did have to put some boundaries around this fixed price, fixed scope model. Once they've gone through this wizard, we're going to give them the option to save it without submitting it. So what happens is a customer might want to think about it overnight. Maybe they want to convene a meeting in the office with some other people and get consensus on the modifications and changes they've made. Maybe you as a partner, if you're doing it for them, wanted to take a first pass, and then you're going to share it with the customer. So we want to give you the ability to save this without submitting it. But once the deployer is completely satisfied with all the changes they've made, they're going to slide this little thing over to say, I'm finished, and then they're going to save it. And at that point, this record gets locked. This wizard's life has ended. It has done everything that it's going to do. The customer can't do anything more with this wizard. It's gone. And all of the changes that they created in that wizard have been added to a customization manifest. And at different intervals throughout their journey going through these wizards, our team is coming out from behind the curtain, jumping into their CRM instance, and making all the modifications that they gave us to make. So we've taken the biggest chunk of the cost of CRM deployment, which is this going back and forth with the customer, sorting all this stuff out where the man hours really rack up, and we've reduced it to a customer self-service filling out a form. And we've done that for the entire deployment of a basic CRM, primarily focused on opportunity management, which is what most of the new customers coming into CRM are looking for. I'm going to jump over to, quickly here, the partner portal. So that kind of summarizes what Rapid Start is. So to kind of summarize, for your customer, we're going to give them a simpler navigation that doesn't scare them. We're going to clean up the forms, give them a consistent look at easy-to-use forms. We're going to go ahead and install that great marketing tool that Microsoft partnered with Inside View for. We're going to go ahead and activate the big maps, and we're going to go ahead and install that integrated training, that really high-value integrated training component. And customers are going to go through, or you on their behalf are going to go through those wizards and completely fine-tune the CRM deployment to fit their business like a glove, and our team's going to go behind and make all those changes, and then this CRM deployment is off to the races. Turned over to the customer. In that video library, the very first category is Drm Basics. We'll start walking them through in a video way how to be successful with CRM. This is not a theory. This is a proven model that's been deployed many, many times. And again, as I said, we've never had a customer cancel yet. So they're all still using these deployments that they started. Many of them have grown significantly from the Rapid Start deployment. All of the solution files, like the navigation, for example, can easily be removed. Kind of consider that training wheels for that new customer. And once they're ready to do more with CRM, they just remove that one solution file. It takes about 2 minutes, and they are back to the full navigation, all the power of CRM to go further. Great opportunity for you as a partner if you did want to build a CRM practice to be able to generate lots of customization revenue. If you're already a CRM partner, which about half of our active partners are CRM partners, and they use our model because it's simply providing a lot more value at a lower cost than they can provide to get the customer off the ground, then they're circling right behind these deployments looking to do more. In our partner portal, which I'd encourage you to sign up for if you have not yet, even if you purchase through Tech Data, you're still going to need to be a reseller in our portal. This is where you'd actually place the orders with the key you buy from Tech Data and create the things that you need to be successful here. We've got lots of material in this portal. We've got a video library and a learning center here on things like how to sell CRM. Many partners new to CRM are concerned about the size of that conversation. Some of the stuff Matt talked about earlier with fantasy games and Field One, that can be a big conversation to have. And frankly, Microsoft's adding so many new capabilities at such a rapid clip, it's a challenge even for experienced CRM partners to keep up with the conversation. And what we're saying is with a large number of those SMB customers, they're not ready for that conversation. They're ready for a simpler conversation around opportunity management, and we're going to teach you how to have that conversation in here. So in the portal, you got a couple of options. Let me see if I can slide this over. Yep, there we go. We've got a leads. This is a free marketing service that we provide to our resellers. you can enter leads up to 100 at a time into our portal. Think about your current Office 365 customers, for example. You'd enter them in here, and then you have the option to add them to our outbound marketing campaign for Dynamics CRM Online. We're coming out with a Rapid Start for SharePoint Online also. That's not quite ready yet. And when you do that, that customer is going to get added to our outbound drip campaign, which is a series of 5 emails spaced 2 weeks apart, runs for a total of 2 months, basically warming your leads up for you. So it's going to be things along the line of, you know, CRM Online is great, Rapid Start makes it easy, please contact your partner, all meant to drive them back to you. There's no links in those emails going anywhere other than right back to you. It's a free service. Microsoft is subsidizing the cost of this, really to help you sell this to your customers. Professional emails correctly messaged about what Rapid Start is and what CRM can do for them. So that's something I encourage you to take advantage of. We've got about, probably about 25% of our 180 partners right now are using this service. The other thing that you'll do in here, probably the most important thing, of course, for us and you, is creating orders for Rapid Start. And this is where you'll do that. You'll come in here, you'll give us the customer name. We'll need to know the number of users, not because it factors into the cost, but we do pay some licensing and some of the video content. And you're going to say, I'm ordering a Rapid Start CRM. And if you bought it from Tech Data, you're going to put the code that you got from Tech Data here. When you purchase Rapid Start on Tech Data, you're going to get an email, kind of like a software key. Here's your Rapid Start key. You're going to copy and paste that right in here. If you want to do the data import wizard, we made that an add-on because about 25% of deployments didn't use it. I didn't want people paying for things they weren't using, so we made that separate. You can skip it if you want. Over here on the right is where you're going to decide who's going to do it. Is it going to be the customer? If it is, you know, you're going to put in their first name, last name, and email. They'll get invited to that deployment portal we looked at earlier. If it's going to be you, you're just going to slide that over and say me. When you purchase the CRM licensing through Tech Data, a CRM tenant will be provisioned. You're going to come back here and give us the domain, admin username, and password so we're able to get in and do the work. And again, this can be saved and you can come back because maybe you may not have all the information when you place the order. But once you hit that I'm finished and save, an order will be created and those wizards will all be built. And the last thing I want to show you is kind of where you can keep track of the projects because, again, if you let your customers do their own deployments, we want you to be able to see what's happening with those deployments that are happening over there, and as well as other people on your staff that might be doing deployments. So you can come to a list of Rapid Start projects. I went ahead and opened one up, and this kind of shows you all the steps that are involved in this process, and you can kind of scroll down to the last date entered, which I see here. The last date entered was a security wizard invite was sent to the deployer, and they haven't completed it yet. So I know exactly where this project is. If my customer is asking, if my boss is asking, I could tell them exactly where that thing is sitting at right at this point in time. Excuse me. So I'm going to open it up for questions. I think at this point I've kind of covered what I need to. I'm going to jump out of this environment and bring us back to the here's some of our partners, and here's where we want you to go, rapidstartcrm.com, sign up as a partner, no cost, no obligation, and you can learn all about the opportunity.
All right, thank you, Steve, and thank you, Matt, for presenting some great stuff here. We'll go ahead and move to the Q&A section of the webinar, so if any attendees have any questions, please feel free to leave those in the Q&A section. So we'll just give it a few minutes to see if there's any questions that come through. All right, Steve, it looks like we have one here. Can customers buy Rapid Start CRM directly?
Nope. This was designed. You know, we made that decision when we became an ISV that we didn't want to create any kind of channel conflict. So Forceworks does not sell Rapid Start directly to customers at all. All customers on Rapid Start are directed to find a partner. We've got a find a partner page on our website. All of our partners are listed on there on a little global map, and they can find a partner to buy it from.
All right. Any other questions? Okay, so someone asked, what is the smallest customer that this would work for?
Yeah, that's a good question, and it kind of ties back maybe a little bit to the cost, which I didn't cover in that thing. But the Dynamics CRM licensing, as Matt went over, is $65 a seat retail. There's a minimum of 5 seats in CSP. There is lower prices if they already have Office 365. They can get that down to about $50 a seat, but this is still not inexpensive software for a really small business. And the Rapid Start model through Tech Data, which also the reason you would buy it from Tech Data instead of just buying it directly in our portal, when you purchase by putting that key in there, you're buying it for 20% less because you bought it from Tech Data. Then if you buy it directly from us, it'll cost you 20% more. And as you can see, there's literally no difference. It's the exact same service, exact same everything. It only has to do with how you buy it. We're really trying to encourage partners to go through Tech Data because we don't want to build a billing part of our business. We want to build the technology part and let Tech Data handle the rest. So when you think about, and then so the cost of Rapid Start, the lowest cost, which is without the data import, is $2,200 US. And that's not very much money for getting CRM deployed and all of the value that I've shown you for that customer. Typically, to get CRM off the ground, you know, most partners are in the $15,000 or $20,000 to get it off the ground, and that scares off a lot of customers. But even at $2,200, that could be a lot for the very smallest of customers. Mm-hmm. And the challenge with those really small customers, like 5-seat deal that just marginally has a need, they're probably not going to spend any money on deploying CRM. They're not even going to buy Rapid Start, much less spend more, and they're probably not going to succeed. So while there definitely are plenty of cases where 5-seat companies have utilized Rapid Start because they had a significant CRM need, by and large, it seems like starting to get into around maybe 10 seats is where their need is great enough that they can justify spending some money. And of course, Rapid Start is priced per tenant, not per user, so the more users they have, the lower that cost appears. And of course, when I'm talking $2,200 is the cost to partners. Typically, this model is offered to customers between $5,000 and $10,000. So be thinking about that number, $5,000 to $10,000. That's a lot for a 5-person company to justify spending.
All right. How does Dynamics CRM compete with other low-cost SaaS-based CRM solutions?
Yeah, that kind of ties right into that last question. You know, there definitely is a plethora of CRM. It seems like every time I look around, there's another SaaS CRM service popping up. Certainly SMB is hip to CRM now. It's no longer a secret. Between Salesforce and Microsoft, I think they've made them aware, and that's created a marketplace for a lot of these little companies to launch a little SaaS CRM operation that does very little, but it does something. And it can be very attractive for a lot of these. Maybe for some of those 5-seat customers, that's a better way to go because they're just going to struggle with Dynamics. But when you're dealing with a 10-seat opportunity that's looking at something like that, we have it's competition. It definitely is out there. These solutions cost less. They're easier to deploy, and you're competing against that when you're selling Dynamics. So I would say that the counter to that are a couple of things. One, if they have Office 365, it's kind of a no-brainer. Matt showed just a couple of highlights there, but Dynamics CRM integrates with Office 365 better than any of these other third-party solutions could hope to. I mean, they own both products. So that's a big plus when they start looking at the productivity gains of these two products being integrated. The other thing that I used to tell customers of that size is, the only reason you're thinking about CRM at all is because you must have some kind of plans to grow this business. Otherwise, why bother with CRM? CRM is about growing your business to another level. And if you're successful in growing the business to another level, you're going to outgrow that little, toy CRM pretty quickly. Why not start with a platform you could never outgrow? And Rapid Start makes it easy for you to use, but now at least you're on the footing of a platform that, however successful, wildly successful you are, you're never going to have to migrate onto a professional platform. You're already on one from day one. We've had good responses from customers on both those things resonating.
Okay. So just some few clarification questions here, Steve. So someone is wanting to clarify, is Rapid Start not a monthly subscription, it's perpetual?
No, Rapid Start is a one-time cost as part of that initial deployment. As a partner, you're going to offer the licenses to your customer on a monthly subscription. They'll be paying monthly for those licenses, and you'll offer Rapid Start for whatever price you want. They don't know what the price is, as a one-time cost of configuration and deployment, getting them launched. There's no continuing fees with Rapid Start.
Okay. And then, how is the data backed up?
The data backup is actually part of the Dynamic CRM program. You know, we're not doing any impacting with the data that's in CRM, and it's backed up the same way I think the Office 365 data is. So if you understand that the Office 365 backup and redundancy, CRM uses the same methods and models.
Okay.
Actually, the product is very easy for partners and customers to manage, because when it's deployed, it shows up right in their same Office portal, right where they're managing Office 365 and the other subscriptions they bought. The Dynamic CRM is now surfaced right in that same area. It becomes one of the tiles in their launch pad. Adding users, deleting users are doing it all from the same place. They're doing it right now.
All right. It looks like we're starting to run a little low on time, so we might not be able to get to all the questions, but I think, Steve, maybe I'll just send you the list of all the Q&A questions if you want to, reach out to them after the webinar. Looks like we have time for at least one more question.
Right.
So is the CRM good for managing service companies, service calls, and warranties?
It is. One of the some of the common elements between a service-based company versus, say, a sales-based company, because this has been designed to kind of do both. In both cases, they're going to use contacts and accounts. Accounts are their customers and companies, and contacts are the people at those customers. They're going to utilize those two entities regardless of whether they're service or sales. If they're more of a service-based organization, they're probably going to spend more energy on that cases wizard than setting up that cases entity, and maybe a little less time on the leads and opportunities, which might not be pertinent to them. And we see that happen where companies have spent a little more or less effort, depending on kind of the weight of where their business problems lie.
All right, great. So I think that's might be one or two questions here that we'll probably contact right after the webinar. So I think with that, I think we can good to go. So thank you everyone for attending our webinar today. Appreciate it. See you guys next time.
All right, thanks. Bye-bye.
Thank you. This concludes today's webinar. You may now disconnect.